Devil went down to Georgia looking for soul to steal. He was in the bind because he was behind. He was willing to make a deal. Is that where we're at today? Is the devil in bind? Is he behind? Could he be willing to make a deal? Would you want to make a deal with the devil? I should hope not. So I'm going to talk about the things that are bothering me right now, and about opportunity, about problems as they've been defined by others, and about solutions to the problems, real and imagined. Real things that you can do that would matter, what we can do as a society, alternately to what is often promoted, which could even work, would work far better. So that's coming at the end of this video, but I'm going to kind of lay out things and prospects. Look, guys, we are right now, from the time this video posts, probably 25 hours or less from the time that the polls close in California. And all kind of mayhem can be coming starting right after that, especially the next day. And there's groups that say they're going to do things on the 5th. Remember the 5th of November. So mayhem is on the countdown. The countdown to chaos is upon us. But it don't have to be. And we can still have a path to liberty. As you may recall from my other videos, I definitely support liberty, not tyranny. I support freedom, not control. I certainly don't want to see on the bridge to the future a troll asking for toll. So let's kind of get into these things. We're going to talk about all these things. If you're not subscribed to my channel, now's a good time to subscribe. Bang the update notification bell and click all, because I do videos on how to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. That's the proposition of my channel. And I bring you a lot of videos to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel, talking about the things that are coming at us. I talk about wild edibles. I talk about how to garden when you don't have to go to the stores and buy things. I talk about the prospects of our grid going down, which are very high and very real that you got to worry about. But I also have great hope for the future. And I have another channel that's dedicated just to that. I believe that you should prepare for the worst and pray and hope for the best. All these things are prospects before us. And we're going to have a prayer session later tonight, probably at 11:11, I hope, a quick one. I'm just going to come on and do a quick little prayer session as a prelude before the elections that are to come, praying for peace and prosperity, because I believe in the power of intention. I did a video, and I called that video The Universe in a Solo Club. And that whole video was about the power of prayer and the need for it. Now, I don't care if you have faith or not. That's immaterial to the power of prayer and the power of intention and the powers of meditation. And I'm not here to promote or degenerate any faith. I'm here for us to stand in solidarity, to hope for a better future and to pray for it. That said, what I'm going to get into might weigh a little bit on a partisan side or another, but I'm just going to be talking about the prospects of what's in front of us. And I'll pick on both sides just a little bit, but there's something that really bothers me overall that I got to get into. And it troubles me to do this. So I'm going to just kind of talk about it and let you be the judge. And for all intents and purposes, this is nothing but a live role-playing, live-action role-playing session, a LARP session for your entertainment only. You be the judge. You think about these things. Go check the websites out. Go search both sides. Don't take anything I say or anything anybody else says wholeheartedly. You be the judge. You be the one to go in and evaluate things. But maybe I can just prompt you to think about things a little bit and some things to look at, because the media seems to steer things directionally a bit these days. Seems to. Maybe I'm wrong. But, you know, there are certain things that occur to certain people that make them go, So, but there is good news. I'm going to do some shares here. But first, before I do that, I'm going to say this. Hang on. One thing I did do is I did a video in which, hey, I pick on both sides. Like I say, I did this video asking about Trump. I said, hey, is Trump a covert agent of the deep state? But notice I'm still angling for freedom here. Not exactly a fan of the deep state. I would say Trump is a bigger fan of the deep state than me. And everybody seems to know or think that he's definitely not that. But I did this video on asking why did he throw Bob Lazar under the bus, not Bob Lazar. Oh my gosh. No, 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 no. Why did they throw Julian Assange under the bus? Okay, yeah. Been on the Leap Project one too many times. Me. No, no, not at all. I hope to be on there a zillion times more. Actually, I don't know if I discussed that individual on this channel. Okay, so yeah, what made me say that? Julian Assange. I don't sound anything like Bob Lazar. As far as I know, Trump's had nothing to do with that. Bob Lazar case, whatever that is, forget about that. Like I said, it's live action role play. All right, so at least we got started with a chuckle here. Let's hope we can keep that going, because you know there's a lot of foreboding in this, but there's also hope, and we are going to get into hope. But you know, I had to ask, you know, why did he throw him under the bus? It didn't make any sense to me, especially considering that Mr. Assange had more to do probably with Trump getting elected than anything, except people's distaste for Mrs. Hillary. Possibly, you tell me. I don't know. So, hey, but there is good news. There is really good news in that we have a special on a 4-week supply of long-term 25-year lasting food that's $100 off. Yes, you can save $100 if you buy right now, and the price is great for 3 meals a day for 30 days. It's a 4-week supply of food that will give you 284 servings, 2,000 calories per day. It's amazing. And this is real food. It's not MREs, guys. And you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you get this, you'll be a winner. You get breakfast, or you get desserts and drinks. So something to make you think. Great deal. Other prepping supplies. Look, the things coming at you, better think about this. And there's other prepping supplies here too. And all you got to do is click on this and look. And if you do this, you go to prepwithgreg.com. You can get all this stuff, and it helps my channel. It does me a lot of good, and you save too. So it's good for you, good for me. And let's all hang together to, well, let's not, we're not hanging, preserve our liberty. Now let's go on. Let's move on. Uh-oh. I didn't really want to start on that page. Let's back it up. Bam. There is a page here which is looking at election comparisons. Now, the interesting thing about this page is look who put this page out. The Council for Foreign Relations. And as you might know, they have a certain global leaning in their makeup. And you know what? I'm not going to go all the way through these. You can go here yourself and look it up. All you got to do is cfr.org elections 2020, okay? Or just go to cfr.org and you can find this. But if you go in here and click on these candidates, look here, if nothing else, look at the picture. You see a nice picture of him. It was just the same one he had above. And here it talks about, you know, all the years he spent in the Senate on the Foreign Relations Committee. This thing seems to be pretty nice to him. And, you know, I think that if, the way I interpret this, and this is my interpretation, they're much in favor of him. I mean, nothing else. Look at this. You see this picture? That one isn't the same. It's far less congratulatory. And I think the right up here kind of fits the same. I think this is not too much in favor of the man in the office right now. You can read it yourself, consider it yourself, what you think. But the way I read it is, hey, this man has kind of been a wrecking ball to globalism. Which is what this organization seems to be most in favor of. In fact, it seems to be what they're pushing for almost extensively. Now, you know, if globalism were just trade, if that's all globalism meant was just free trade, international cooperation, and people getting along around the world, shaking hands, meeting, being friends, man, I'm all for that. You know, if trade is just trade, and it's, you know, free, fair and easy deal, if it's all, you know, equal societies, equally competing, being nice and friendly, that's all great. That's wonderful. Doesn't seem to be what we have, and it doesn't really seem, as I see it, to be the real agenda of what this is all about. But, you know, hey, you be the judge. But it just so happens that one of the chairmen of this organization was this gentleman, a very prominent bankster. Yeah, as you might say, you know, he was chairman and CEO of the Chase Manhattan Bank. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. And he was, you know, maybe we have a Mandela effect going on here, or maybe it is a rewrite. What's going on here? This is strange because I had heard and long read that he was the youngest ever chairman of the CFR. And that was supposed to be a really big deal. And now I come in here and it says he was honorary chairman. What? Excuse me. Yeah, he was a founder of this organization here. So I'm sure a few of you have heard about. And he's got something to do with this. Interesting, right? Interesting. Well, he was Republican. Back in the day. Back in the day when it was a good old boys club, right? So, you know, interesting. Amazing how a lot of these globalist rich banksters and types, and like even Henry Kissinger, who wasn't a bankster, you know, how these guys just seem to live past 100, you know. Wow. It seems to be some of those key guys just keep ticking. How is that? I don't know. But you know what bothers me is about this whole thing is it seems to have a direction that looks kind of like this. Georgia Guidestones. Oh man, is this where the devil went down to Georgia? I'm kind of inclined to think this was where he went. The devil went down to Georgia Guidestones looking for a soul to steal. And how many was he wanting to steal? Almost everybody on the planet, if you read this. On the descriptions, maintain humanity under, didn't say equal to, or how far under 500 million perpetual balance with nature. Now I'm going to tell you what, all these things kind of, if you look at them at face value, just with nothing else in your mind, that some of these things really sound good. You know, humanity under a living new language, well, that might be a little scary. Rule, passion, faith, and tradition sounds good. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Now, hey, you know what? I'm all behind number 7. 7's a lucky number, right? We got to put some good stuff in here. I mean, you know, to make this whole thing palatable and swallowable, you got, you know, what do? You take a poison pill, you coat it in sugar. So we got a lot of sugar down here. Well, what's number 1 on the list? Number 1 on the list is you got to get rid of almost everyone alive today because we have, you know, something on the order of getting close to 8 billion people. Lots more than this. Yeah. So how do we get there from here? When does this have to take effect? You know, you might say, well, we'll gradually get there if the population rates decline the way it's projected just because people quit having kids. Well, that might be, and that might not be so bad. But there are a certain agenda out there that we've got to watch out for. And, you know, and I could ignore that. I could totally ignore the Georgia guys. So some crackpot put that up. Yeah, some crackpot. Problem is that a lot of the elite of the world have been harping on this population issue for a very long time. You know, Thomas Malthus was one of the first that we were quite aware of doing this. And, you know, some of the people, here's 45 quotes of 45 famous people, and you can literally find hundreds more. You know, it's like this don't quote, take Prince Philip of England into account in his saying that he would like to be reincarnated as a virus to come back and wipe out most of humanity. Or quotes from his son, Charles, perhaps the future king, or many, many others. There are many world leaders that have been quoted, and you can find their quotes talking about this stuff. Oprah Winfrey is one. Their quotes are not found in this list, but here you can find Charles Darwin's. Mr. Who's this guy? Gates of Bill? Interesting. Yep. Read it yourself. The problem is that the population is growing the fastest where the people are least able to deal with it. Maybe somewhat true, but who's he to be the judge? Oh yeah. Henry Kissinger's not quoted in here either. Mr. calling people in poor countries useless eaters, and he talked quite a bit about this stuff. So it's the very poorest places that you're going to have the tripling population by 2050. And we've got to make sure that we help out with the tools now so they don't have any impossible situation later. What are those tools? What's the impossible situation? Interesting. Oh, yeah. Boris Johnson? Oh, I thought he was anti-globalist. See, population control is hallmark of globalism. CNN founder Ted Turner. A total population of 250 to 300 million people, a 95% decline from present levels would be ideal. And he said that about 20 years ago. So that decline would be, the current decline is like 25% more right now to what the guidestones say. He's calling for half of what's in the guidestones. Interesting, interesting. I've even heard from some numbers like 100 million. Maybe with all the robotics we're reaching to, maybe they would like a number far smaller than that. David Rockefeller. Well, we saw him a minute ago, didn't we? Interesting. Interesting. Yes. And look, Sir Richard Branson says we just can't handle all these people. I'm going to show you at the end of this video one that's wrong. He says we can't have 10 billion people. I'll show you how this earth can have far more living completely in harmony with nature, zero environmental impact with prosperity and peaceably. I'm going to show you that. I've covered this a little bit in some of my videos. So, guys, I'm going to tell you what. Bill Maher, Mr. Snore here, Mr. All Snore. I would think he'd be for all that. On and on. So there's 45 people named in here. Austin, Texas, Professor of Biology. Oh, he is he is called Mr. Gloom and Doom, or Mr. Doom, Dr. Doom. Yeah, and other similar names. Because he's actually calling for massive population decline. Kofi Annan. Mr. Bill Nye, not a science guy. He's a TV comedian. Actor Cameron Diaz. Okay, so what? Actor. Gloria Steineman. Everybody with a womb doesn't have to have a child any more than everybody with vocal cords needs to be an opera singer. Jane Goodall. I guess she wants all gorillas. Oh! This one just joined the league of those that aren't here. Supreme Court Justice who? Ginsburg? Nah. Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger. The most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members. Oh my gosh, really? She said that? Yeah. Well, she's quoted again further down here. That wasn't what I thought she was quoted as saying. Oh, wow. But you know, this gentleman up here, Mr. Gates, his dad worked for her. And she is credited being one of the early people behind the movement of eugenics. So Mr. Adolf, not a meat tenderizer, Hitler, took on to the great disparage of the world. Now we seem to be beginning to favor these approaches again. And a guy I used to admire, Jacques Cousteau. He says we must eliminate 350,000 people per day. He says it's a horrible thing to say, but I just had to say it. Wow. So he's got no patience to wait. We got to start eliminating, according to him. Wow. Okay. So a number of people take these guidestones very seriously. Bam. A number of people are all behind this. And, you know, somebody paid to have that thing installed and they wish to be secret about it. Well, looky here. What are they trying to do? When do they want to have all this in place? This is UN.org, Sustainable Development, a development agenda. Okay, this is an official program. If you read through all this, it all sounds good and wonderful. You be the judge. It's all good and wonderful. Today, progress has been made in many places, but overall action to meet the goals is not yet advancing at the speed and scale required. 2020 needs to usher in a decade of ambitious action to deliver the goals by, what year is that? 10 years later. 20. Yeah. And the last two digits is 30. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's in a bind. He's behind. He's in a bind. Probably not willing to make a deal. And if he was, would you want to make the deal? See there? Look at this. Does that explain all the things? And why 2020? Is that why this year is such a burger? Oh, a decade of action. Well, guys, we've seen our first year of action. Just how pretty has this action been? Wow, global action, people action, sustainable development goals. It all sounds nice on the surface, but what is the implementation? How do you get there from here in 10 years? In 10 years. Really? Wow, wow. Holy smoke. Well, look at this. Here may be the answer. From the World Economic Forum, another global type organization. Oh, we got this bug. Because this bug, there will be no more hug. We got to have a great global reset of everything. Okay. Interesting. And of course, some people of interest, I have cited Mr. Milton Friedman. I read his book back in 1980. Free to Choose. Good book. So, you know, they try to, hey, now who can argue with anything that's promoted by a lady that paints her face so beautifully with the earth? It all sounds great and wonderful on top. Problem is, you know, when you look into the roof, the problem is, what is the bricks made out of? What is this thing really? And are the halls filled with blood? I don't know. How do you get to the goals they're talking about in the time they're talking about? What's going to happen? Oh, did I end share? Let me go back to share screen again. Yeah, the problem is the this tool Zoom, its controls all come right down on top of it. Yeah, I see why. Stop share button's right there. We're trying to click this button. So what does it mean? Here we go. Welcome to, what year's that? I own nothing. Have no privacy, and life has never been better. Wow. Okay, let's talk about this. You know, I've been seeing articles promoting this kind of philosophy for some time about, you know, having nothing. You don't need own anything. You can basically rent and lease everything. Live in an apartment. You won't even have a wife or kids. The children will belong to the state. Brave new world. You have no responsibilities whatsoever. You just live to eat and take a leak and dump. Really? What? You're like a weed. Everybody's like a weed. No responsibility. Well, how is anybody going to produce anything at work? We got no responsibility. Great, we're going to be robotics. They won't have to. Really? I've done a video about that. Robots aren't going to do everything. I've discussed that before. But that's beside the point. That means that everybody's useless eater, which, you know, goes back to that agenda. Goes back to those guidestones. They want to get rid of useless eaters. That's what Kissinger's told us. They want to get rid of useless eaters. So under this scenario, maybe everyone's a useless eater. So this is the fly bait. This is how they lure you in. Sounds nice and wonderful. No responsibilities. Get a check every month just for sitting around. Whatever you want to do. Sounds great. Sounds wonderful. This is what the kids are behind. They bought into this fly bait. Sounds good. Global. What's this agenda? No, you can't. That can't be. That's impossible. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as that, right? Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now, what is that? Values. Yeah. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing. Have no privacy. Do you really want no privacy? No. It says no privacy. Every thought, every deed, everything everybody has done is known by everybody. Well, there'll be a certain bit of transparency, but it also says nothing matters. In a society like this, there's no morality. How can there be no morality when you have no privacy? That means anything and everything is okay. Okay. It's all okay. Everything's okay. Is it okay? Should it be okay? Everything. How is that handled? How is that governed? How is that adjudicated? And what if somebody does break a crime? What do they do? How do they handle this? Or maybe you can't because you will be hardwired. Yes, there's no money. Everything's digital. You own nothing. This is communism. So what this means, my friends, to do this, oh, look, guys, I've been saying for a long time, they want to get rid of all your sovereignty. They want no one to have any sovereignty at all. You can't have a business. You can't have anything you own. You can't have, ultimately, you will be a vassal of the state, which means you have to suck up to everything the state says. You live by your social credits. You live in the hive. In this society, you are a member of the hive. And if you say, if the government does anything that you don't like and you say anything about it, you won't be alive because you won't fit in the hive. At least you'll be discredited. You'll be persona non grata at the very best. What's the very worst? Remember, they don't want people around anymore. Any excuse to get rid of somebody might be a good thing. Post-birth abortions throughout your whole life. That may be the new strife. See, could you have a society like this when you have an amendment number 2, when they can come by and take you, your very life? 2 auf Deutsch means 2, just in case that was a question by you. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. Really? You would have to be a total, to survive, you'd have to be a total social, I can't even talk right now. A significant suck up. Yes, you would absolutely do whatever they say and whatever way they want it. You know, this isn't going to be the life you think. This is how they're going to lure you in, because then they don't want you. But see, this is all for the environment. This is all to have social justice. You'll have no freedom, no privacy. That's what I'm predicting. But then again, you be the judge. I don't see how. See, this is this is communism. And every communist society has been a tyrannical government because it goes against human nature. It goes against the very nature of people. And any system that goes against human nature is bound to fail. This will fail too. But how much damage will it do on the way to failure, to shattering, to crushing? It's going to crush a lot of people. It may crush our civilization out of its existence. Of course, I would submit to you this will never happen. Not in America. They'll never get there because people will not stand for this. That's my thought. But then again, this is a live action role play, right? Okay, let's back up. Zoom don't want me to back up. I'm gonna have to minimize the screen just a little bit, just to move things around. Great reset. And these are by the same organization, by World Economic Forum. So that's telling you what the reset ultimately is going to be. What is the Great Reset? It's take you off your property. It's to put you, bam. Is this where they want to go? Bam. People say, oh, Greg, that map's not real. That's not true. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe totally fake. A lot of attention went into drawing it. Like it took a lot of civic planning to draw this out. Hey, wildlife corridors are good. Well, when the whole country is a big wildlife corridor, when human beings are, look here, buffer zones, highly regulated use, not regulated use, highly regulated use. This is buffer zone between the corridors, everything red, which is core reserves and corridors, little to no human use. The word is it's keep out zones. You can't go there, which includes a county I grew up in, or not grew up in, that I lived in sometime, looks like Jackson County, and a little bit more, part of eastern Madison County. I'm in Huntsville. Huntsville's right here. Looks like Huntsville is in the highly regulated, can't be there kind of a zone. The normal use zones, this is your cities. There's just a few around this map. Now maybe this map has changed in this planning. Maybe this isn't real, but it kind of fits with the overall arrow of events. Uh-oh, did it again. So let me do another screen share. It kind of fits. Yeah, see, the problem is when I reach up to hit the tab on Google, it's right where the stop share tab is on Zoom. Yeah. What year is that? And what's the agenda over here? See, they took the agenda name off now. They don't say that on here anymore. Interesting, but it's still down in the text. Why'd they do that? Bam. Why is everybody aiming? What is there so magical about this year? Why that year? Why is that year all over the place? Is that why they are accelerating things? Is this why we're being pushed into quarantines and lockdowns? And what is the reasons for these things? Is that to drive the small businesses out of business? Is that what that's all about? Man, hey, you figure it out. You know, I'm going to stop share for a second, for this time on purpose. Why are they doing this stuff? What are they doing to us? Why are they doing it? Why is this coming at us? Or is this real, or is it just memorex? Is it our imaginations? Our imaginations overactive? But there's all these quotations, all those people. There's literally hundreds of them. That's just 45. There's literally hundreds of them, and other very famous people and people in power. Scads of quotations that fit with the guidestones, that fit hand in glove with them. Some go beyond, like Ted Turner. Now the guidestones, they're too generous. Oh yeah, what state did he start out in? With Atlanta, Georgia, wasn't it? Yeah, and didn't he start on the cable news network after the Turner broadcasting or whatever he used to do? He started out just showing old videos on cable TV. Then he colorized them. Then he started a news network. Interesting. So let's go back into it. Yeah. So what I worry about is our freedom. Well, before we do it, what I worry about is our freedom. A lot of people, yeah, I'm not going to come back into it just yet. Hang on, guys. A lot of people know that there are some of our freedoms that are something of a guarantee, a guarantor to our other freedoms, to sovereignty. If you're not a sovereign, you have no freedom. You're nobody in the end. You know, so we had this certain amendment in our Constitution. This is not focusing. This camera's not focusing. Yeah, there we go. And it says, and I read unto you the second clause therein, the right of the people to keep and do this. Oh, wow, I just split my shirt. Here, pop. Uh-oh. Yikes. I like this shirt. Enterprise shirt. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. I actually should have had another tab open. There's a certain guy running for president right now has just quoted and saying that he's going to take away certain elements of that. He's definitely going to infringe on it. So that may be an issue. That may be the beginnings of the road down this road of the global Gulag. And okay, let's hit this. Bam. Here's Monticello's website. And it's oft quoted quote from Thomas Jefferson. Of course, this is a museum. And, you know, these kind of places tend to be on the PC side of the spectrum these days. But they did state this quote: the strongest reason for the people to retain their right to keep and bear, you know what, is as a last resort to protect themselves against the tyranny of government. Now they'd go down here further and say, so this quotation has not been found in any of the writings of Mr. Thomas Jefferson. Is often seen preceded by the sentence, well, here's a good one: no free man shall be disbarred of the use of arms. Well, that's pretty simple and straightforward. You don't have to interpret that vis-a-vis, you know, well-regulated militias And this, he actually was in his draft, the Jefferson's draft to what? The Virginia Constitution. Well, holy smoke, I bet he's rolling in his grave right now. Holy smoke, the Virginia Constitution. What's happening in Virginia right now? Yeah, they're trying to undo this very thing. You see, the founding fathers realized one thing. They wrote and talked about this, whatever quote you want to take in context or not. They knew that free people had to resist tyranny in every way possible. And you know what? I am actually going to try to look up something here. I'm going to try to do a lookup real quick. No, I'm not going to do it here. It's going to take too long. There's a term called democracy. Democracy refers to the governments of the countries terminating their own. That number is said to vastly exceed the numbers terminated in all the wars back in, say what the scale of all this in the 20th century. That, and it's often preceded by, these events are usually preceded by things done for the safety of the people, the kids. Let's take away the firearms for the safety, for the good. This is what we should do. We should. That's what they do. That's what they say. But it takes away liberty. And it takes away your real, perhaps your last ditch reserve, your last vanguard for safety against tyranny, which would take far more away than the so-called, because remember, tyranny governments also maintain their power by the point of something sharp or something that goes bang. That's how they control you ultimately. When the push comes to shove, that is their ultimate control to you. And they use it. And that's how they stay in charge. So this was intended to give the population some modicum of resistance, to be able to have some freedom against tyranny itself. That's why that amendment's there. It's not for hunting. It's not even for self-protection. And those things should be, protected too. But that's a whole different story. A whole different story. Now, some people will take argument with that. But here's what I'm going to say. With all of these things coming up, I've done videos talking about potential protest from the left. The guys who want to shut down DC and their affiliated organizations that have got an agenda for things that we'll do on the 4th and on the 5th especially, and thereafter until the inauguration day, and some talk about things to do thereafter if they don't get their way. And if they get their way, it said they will still have their riots and celebration. They're going to riot irregardlessly. I don't know. I've done videos where I say, well, maybe it's not so because, maybe people are burned out on all this stuff. But I could definitely see some of this happening. How far will it go? What's the power and emotion behind it? It's, some people are legitimately concerned. There's businesses boarding up. They're putting a fence around the White House. They're concerned. They're really concerned. A lot of people are really worried about this. And I'd say rightfully so. If Trump wins by a landslide, they'll probably still riot. But if he takes office and everything goes down, what's going to happen? But what happens now? If there's a Senate that goes Democrat and their House is still Democrat, they will impeach Trump and convict him and remove him from office for breathing anything. They'll literally trump up charges, like the previous impeachment, where he was impeached for asking for an investigation for the dealings of Hunter Biden on a board of an energy company in the Ukraine, for which he had no qualifications, for which his dad had an investigator fired. Yes, Joe Biden had somebody fired, basically, by withholding $1 billion. And he is alleged, okay, all this is alleged. He's alleged to have withheld or threatened to withhold $1 billion in aid to Ukraine, contingent removal of the person who was investigating the company that Hunter was involved in. That's major. That's impeachable itself. Of course, if Biden gets impeached, we get Kamala. No great advantage to the lovers of the amendment number 2 or any of our freedoms under the people that want to, basically tear down the country and remove our freedoms. I'm told that freedom of speech is against social justice. Let me tell you what, with democracy and all these other things running, you won't have no social justice. That's an illusion they're pulling over your eyes. It's flybait. In the end, you have no means of redress. If you don't agree with the government, you think you're going to get true social justice. The government is not there to give you social justice. The government is there to serve itself when you get a government of that size. They're there for their own perpetual ruling of the ruling class. That's all these tyrannies ever turn out to be. And for the ruling person of the ruling class, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Birds of a feather flock together, and who has a goal makes the rule. These three things are going to stick together to drive the dynamic to tyranny in these organizations. You take away the checks and balances afforded herein, and you're guaranteed tyranny. You're guaranteed, you're not going to have a sweet, beautiful, wonderful picture they're showing you on all these agendas. You're going to have a nightmare, and it will be a global gulag nightmare with no place to run to escape. And it begins by the election of people who are friendly to the deep states and these kind of organizations. And that's how it looks to me. Maybe I'm wrong. You be the judge. Does that affect how you think about what's coming up with the election before us? I don't know. But aside from that, I'm going to talk about solutions. They have nothing to do with election. We do have a Supreme Court that, Justice Roberts, who's very much a globalist and would sell us out in a minute, aside. Him aside, he's probably, he's a closet, the closet, he would probably make Ruth Bader Ginsburg look like an arch conservative, maybe. But it's all in the closet. He's a globalist, big time. Don't doubt it for a second. You can't count the presidents who put people in the court as to what side they fall on. Look at the fruit they bear through their actions they take. All right. So we're going to start into solutions, what to do and how to do it. I know tomorrow how I'm voting. You got to vote and choose according to your own heart. But, people that are more friendly to China, to deep state, to globalism, to taking away my freedom to rip my shirt up when I pull my sleeve up, support of the amendment number 2 auf Deutsch. Yeah, I have a hard time going there. Also, I've got to remind you, what else, if you support that side, you're supporting. If they actually do go around and do what he said he's going to do in terms of what they want to take up, the protests you've seen so far these past few months will look like a Sunday school picnic. I'm not calling for this. I'm just telling you what I expect and what I know. People have seen, the groups I hear. I'm just being a messenger. I advocate peace, and we're going to have a prayer for peace. I'm running out of time, though. So for tonight, we're definitely going to have some peace prayers starting Wednesday night, and next week especially, 11/11/11. So on the 11th of November, the 11th hour, the 11th minute, we're going to have a big mass meditation prayer session that we can move forward with peace and prosperity. Also, vote with your dollar. Vote local. Support your local tradesmen, your local industry, but mainly your small local tradesman, farmer, the small businesses. Keep them going, keep them rolling. That's one of the best things you can do for your community, for the environment. Minimize those long trade routes. The dirtiest thing burning fuel out there is those big international cargo ships. They burn the lowest grade, cheapest, dirtiest oil there is. They don't talk about that, do they? Don't talk about regulating those because they're all for that kind of stuff. But, you know, support your local artisan, your local tradesman, your local business, your local farmer as much as you can. And the more local, the smaller the business, the more mom and pop they are, the better, because what we need is sovereignty. We don't need them to take our sovereignty. This is why we need to form our communities, so we can have our own economy amongst ourselves, irrespective of whatever they try to put down upon us. That's the goal, the dream of our tribe network, is to interlink them that way. And we're starting to get that moving. Sorry for the delays, my friends. So, and here's how you can support us. I have started the Freedom Restoration Foundation. This is a group that's going to be promoting freedoms. We do have a Facebook site, and this is it. Just come here on Facebook, try to join, and be sure to answer the questions, though, to help the people that are in here assessing your joining. I am the founder of this group. The admin of this group is Mr. Roy here, Cowboy Roy. He's a trucker. Oh, well, that didn't come up when I clicked him. Okay, well, so much for that. I'm going to stop the share yet, and I want to do one more thing here. You already went there. Let's stop the share. Bam. Okay. We're going to talk about other solutions here real fast. Some other solutions, some alternatives to the agenda and things they call out. Things that will actually work, that will take care of our environment, maintain freedom and prosperity, and allow more people to live on Earth with less environmental impact than we have today. Zero environmental impact, almost. More people living more prosperous. Greg, it's impossible. Oh, no, it's not. Not at all. And I've done videos on this, and we'll do more in the future. Y'all just didn't quite grab the gravity of what I've been putting out there. This habitat is a habitat that you can live out of, live in, make a living out of, grow your food in. You could actually make a whole family's living out of this habitat. It's scaled to 1/10 of an acre. Now this is looking down the long axis. This is one of these hexagons. You're looking down this one this way. I'll show you another layout here in a minute. This has a lot of thermal mass. It can handle earthquakes, high winds. It's almost fireproof because it's mainly built out of dirt. It's built out of materials, basically right where you build on top of. So very little impact. If you're living out of your home, making a living out of your home, growing your food out of your home, you just suddenly, and producing your energy, recycling the water from the rain, suddenly you have greatly reduced the need for infrastructure, for water lines, sewer lines, pipelines, for fuel lines, for roads, transportation, for the power. You'll still want internet. Most that's going to be in the sky. What Elon Musk is doing. You've greatly, you don't have much need for an automobile. You can live so independently. Oh, they don't want that. Anywhere in the world. Or in places like the moon or Mars. See, that habitat's got water over the top to shield you from radiation, still let in the light. And we do have a simulation of the habitat concept on Mars. And I've shown that in some of my videos too. And it's real beautiful. You need to check those videos out and watch for my future releases on those. Here's another little version of it. This is more rectangular type version. So you got your workshops below. You can also put other industry. You can grow enough food to feed a family of 4 and sell from it too. So it's a couple ways to make a living. The living area here, so this whole thing is 1/10 of an acre. This is where you'd be living up here. This is the living quarters, and that's a 1/20 of an acre. Over 2,000 square feet, far more than most people have for a family of 4. Looking at it, this way, rectangular part. Oh yeah, but I drew this particular one to kind of match my Venetian sky station. Every one of these terraces is comprised of those homes. And that's for a blank floating in the sky. But you can actually put this in the sky on Earth if you could figure out a way to overfly the countries. Even 20 miles high. It's got enough buoyancy. You could do that. You can adjust it. Yes, these are the plans I'm working on. So, I got to blame a space. I work in their atmosphere too. Work even better in Venetian atmosphere. And yes, you can mine Venus. I will cover that. And yes, you can actually launch a starship from Venus. I'll cover that too in a subsequent follow-up video for my galactic Greg's channels. Okay. So you could put, the UN projects the population of Earth at the end of this century to be just over 9 billion people. So if you put that population in these homes and compacted them into one place, which I would never advocate, I believe just putting all your eggs in one basket. And yeah, we need some separation to maintain cultures and to help us, and actually help resolve us from future pandemics and things like that. Some distance and separation is needed. Because the more interconnected we are, the more things spread. Oh yeah, that home. It gives you a lot of that just by default. Especially since you can be working from home, either through the internet or what you're producing, 3D printers downstairs. And you're just not going to have the need for the systems and services that are today. There won't be the need for all the office complexes. Office complexes are so 20th century. We can eliminate them. Eliminate them almost entirely. Stores, shops, a lot of this stuff can go away. People can be self-sovereign and produce most of what they need. Not everything. There'll still be businesses and industries. There'll still be farms. But the need and reliance upon them will be far less than it is today. And people will be far more sovereign and independent. And the impact on the globe and the environment will be almost zero. But I would never say force everybody to live in these homes. No, 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 no. The objective is to make these homes so beautiful and so attractive, people couldn't imagine anything else. They would want to live in them because they'll be cheap. They'll be cheap on energy. The independence, to having everything at your fingertips is going to be so convenient and so great that people just couldn't ever imagine living in a stick-built home again once this gets going. It's going to, that's the whole plan, is to make something so beautiful, so wonderful, people go, oh my God, why didn't we do this before? Greg, I don't farm, I can't grow a garden. And we got 3D robotics can handle all that stuff if you don't want to do it yourself. If you want to deprive yourself of the great value and joy you get of growing things, okay, we can handle that. Or you could sharecrop it to a neighbor who wants to do that. Yes, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people in the neighborhood. Oh yeah, I'll sharecrop your lawn. But if you don't want to grow it, that's fine. There'll be plenty enough to grow it. We can feed 2 billion people out of the lawns in North America alone. If you grow in the methods of the DeVace family of Pasadena, South California. Bingo. That's just raised bed technology. Nothing high tech. Might be a little bit labor intensive, but people are going to need jobs irrespective of this notion that everybody's going to be able to sit at home and draw a check for doing nothing. What's your purpose in living? To play video games? Yeah, okay. So there's a lot more to get into, but I've just told you what worries me. It's the global gulag that's squeezing down on us, and they do have an agenda. They got a time frame. They got a date. And they're pushing harder and harder to get to that date. And maybe that's part of what's going on. So if you like lockdowns, if you don't believe in this, vote with the blue states. Take the blue pill. Yeah, I don't remember which pill to switch out of the. But I support people that support my freedoms, and that's how I'm voting. At the polls, when I go to the stores and spend my money, I'm voting with this. I'm voting local. We're forming that organization I just showed you in order to preserve our freedoms. And therein we'll be writing letters, making email, phone calls, and giving you the tools to do that, to know what's on the docket, what's going through the hill, who's the sponsors, who to contact, so you will know what's coming up. More, you got a spreadsheet for that stuff. And so that'll give you the tools you need to address with that. Now, that spread, that platform I showed you the tests on is not too freedom friendly. So that site may cease to exist one day. To maintain contact with us, email me. Right now at hal5space@aol.com. That will change. I do have Freedom Restoration Foundation reserved as a, actually I can set the email up. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and set that email up real soon. I've got that covered. I'll be sending up another email soon for us to send to. When you send an email, if you're interested in our tribes, survival tribe network, put tribe in the subject line. If you're interested in preserving freedom, put freedom in the subject line. So I'm here bringing you some solutions. One is vote with your dollar. You need to think a little bit more about how you vote when you go to the poll. I'm not telling you how to vote, just you need to think. Of course, this is a live action role playing session, okay? Considering the organizations we're forming for survival, for sustainability that is real, with self-sovereignty, with freedom and liberty. It's not where they want to go. And all these things. I have videos in here telling you how to get your grid hardened, steps that you can take. But I also tell you how to survive, how to prep to take care of these things in the worst case. I ask you to pray and meditate to get us in a better state of reality, as I laid out in my video, The Universe in a Solo Cup. So what happens if you go out and do all the preppings and gardening and things, and the world has immense prosperity? Well, I would say that's wonderful. That's what I hope for. In growing things, you are bonding with nature. You will get some very good health benefits out of that. You'll know what you're eating, what you're growing. You'll get healthy food. You'll learn things. You'll be able to share with other people, including your kids, your grandkids, your neighbors' kids, if you don't have any. So you'll be living healthier and happier. What have you lost with that? So there's some great advantage, as you can see, as you march down the road to maintain your liberty. So, okay. And the food, the preps. Guys, this stuff lasts 25 years. So 15, 20 years from now, you got a month worth of food for this very second, last time I looked. Now, it may go up. Maybe at the time you click on it, it's still going to be $100 off. But that price you just saw on $197, holy smoke, my friends, that's an investment. 20, 25 years from now, well, the way I expect food inflation to be going, you're going to be thrilled. Wow, I got this for that. Holy smoke, this is outperforming any investment I ever had. Well, I don't know. I'm not an investment advisor, okay? Don't take my advice on the basis of investment. But, guys, it doesn't look too bad. That's my point. It doesn't look too bad. It might be quite interesting. All righty. I have beat on all this enough. So I know that you watch it this long. Say, Greg, I'm going to vote with my dollar. Then I'll know you've seen all this. All right, my friends. I pray you and your family stay safe, and our country gets through this, the world gets through this, that we still find a way to maintain our freedoms and prosperity and our liberty, irrespective of who gets elected. Liberty and prosperity, yeah, why can't we have both? We can. That's what I hope for. And hopefully, if whatever side wins, we'll be able to still maintain due process and find that as a route to maintaining our freedoms, as opposed to some of these other routes that might be exercised by a lot of people. I hope we find peace. There's no such thing as a civil war. All war is uncivil. Just remember that. It may come to that, and people are going to maintain and push for their freedoms. Yeah, it's going to happen. So don't challenge them too much. Best to let some things lie, my friends, to leave some things alone. But if they're wanting to push a tyranny, if that's the ultimate goal, they're going to try to take over liberty. That is the bottom line. That's what worries me. Let's hope I'm off base. None of that is on the table. Wait a minute, we just looked at the table, didn't we? World Economic Forum, all these other things. Yeah. I wasn't just having a bad dream. Maybe that's what this is. Go to bed and go to sleep and wake up tomorrow and the world will be all butterflies and bumblebees. Yeah, right. Okay, everybody. Thank you. Hey, I really appreciate everybody. I got the best subscribers in the world. And I get great comments. Please comment below. Tell me what you really think, what you think is coming, what you think all this means. Just remember, this is not a freedom of speech platform. So all I'm going to say is thank you for watching.